Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, and today I'm taking it back to 2011 to talk about the very first season of Top Boy, which thanks to Netflix it now carries the Summerhouse subtitle, so you can find it on Netflix as Top Boy: Summerhouse. And this is the one that started it all, originally airing on Britain's Channel 4. And let me tell you, speaking of 4, it's only 4 episodes, but they do a lot in these 4 episodes. Now, before we dive in, I want to give a little bit of background. So, Top Boy was created and written by Ronan Bennett. It's the same guy who wrote Michael Mann's Public Enemies, came out in 2009, starred Johnny Depp, pretty good one. And he was the creator slash showrunner slash lead writer on The Day of the Jackal, starring Eddie Redmayne, which came out last year and that I have full coverage of on this channel. So shameless plug for that. Watch Day of the Jackal and have my videos along with that as well to accompany your viewing. So the story here centers on 2 drug dealers, Dushane, played by Ashley Walters, and Sully, played by Kane Robinson, better known in some parts as Kano, which we'll get to that in a moment. Ashley Walters, most recently seen in my, as of right now, #1 ranked show 2025, Adolescence. Brings a whole different energy here, playing a street thug rather than a cop. And Kane Robinson, a.k.a. Kano, he's more well-known as a rapper, actually. And I'll be honest, I was shocked when I learned that he was a musician first, because of his performance on this show is great. But the man has 6 albums under his belt as of today. So I don't know how good they are, but he might be better known for his music than even he is for this great show and his acting performance on it. From the jump, you can feel the DNA of The Wire in this show, the gritty London housing estate setting, the street level storytelling, grooming of kids into the gang. And to its credit, Top Boy takes that inspiration and runs with it. You could tell this wasn't a huge budget production, but man, they make every dollar, they make every pound stretch on this show. The direction and acting carries the weight, and there are some surprisingly beautiful moments, like one of the characters' moms quietly admiring her freshly painted yellow room that's a stark contrast to the drab room that she had before. But overall, the vibe is intentionally rough and unpolished, and it works well here, just like it did on The Wire. The score, I think, deserves a lot of props with this show, too. When the budget can't stretch to have, big violent shootouts with special effects and all kinds of wild makeup for the violence, like something like Gangs of London does today, the music here heightens the tension instead. And, people compare, I've mentioned already, people compare this show to The Wire. That's what got me to watch it, and I get it. But here's where I think it differs. And before I even say this, to be clear, I've only watched series 1. It's only 4 episodes. There's more to come, plenty more to come. This show could very much become something that I think could stand shoulder to shoulder with The Wire. But the difference here right now, after series 1, is that The Wire balanced the streets with the politics and the law enforcement side, and it gave us more of that whole 360 view of the drug trade. Top Boy doesn't do that, at least not right now. It's more tightly focused on the characters and their relationships, and honestly, that's fine because the characters here are very strong. Dushane is instantly likable, charismatic, thoughtful, and while violent, you can tell he doesn't really want to commit violence if he doesn't have to. He'd rather avoid it. Meanwhile, Sully, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. Hot-headed, reckless, almost eager to inflict violence. But Kane Robinson gives him some layers. Like, there's some flashes of regret in his eyes. Like, there's an accidental, I'm assuming it's his first kill of his life, and it's by accident. And when they're taking care of the situation, it looks like he has tears in his eyes. Like, he feels really bad about it. Even if his regret feels more like the regret you would have stepping on somebody's shoes in the mall rather than taking a life. But I think that in general, Sully is a pretty generic character. The kind of character who's in all of these sorts of shows. But Kane Robinson is playing him as more of like a violent ne'er-do-well, rather than as some sort of psychopath. He seems like he wants to do better, but he just doesn't know how necessarily. And then there's Raynell. He's young, intelligent, ambitious, but ambitious for good reasons. He wants to, help his mom, who's having some mental health issues. He wants to help his neighbor, who wants to move into a new flat somewhere out of the hood, somewhere safe. And he just wants to help protect people. And that makes him compelling, especially in, not just in my eyes, but in Dushane's eyes, as someone who's worth grooming for this business. It seems inevitable that he'll take a turn that kind of like, digs him deeper into the drug trade, but we'll see. Hopefully they'll take him somewhere, take his character in a more creative direction. And that whole recruitment angle, it really drove home like the tragic cycle that these kids get caught in. And it's interesting to see the exact same dynamics at play, across the pond as happens here, here in the hood as well. But one of these kids, Dushane has working for him, is supposed to be 10 years old. And I mean, the actor looks the part. That looked like a 10-year-old. But the supporting cast here, I think, deserves mention too, not just the ones who look like little kids. Letitia Wright shows up, I'm assuming fairly early in her career as Chantel. She's part of Dushane's crew. We got a young Benedict Wong as a wholesale weed buyer here. We don't see much of him in series 1, but I bet he's probably going to get a little bit more involved later. It's wild to me. I mean, Benedict Wong, I doubt you're going to see this. If so, don't take offense. But it's wild to me how much older he looks now, while Ashley Walters looks exactly the same now as he did on this show. But then you have, lastly, Raynell's friend Jim, played by Giacomo Mancini, who is another highlight. Or Mancini, I don't know. Mancini, I don't know. I don't know this actor from anything else, but he's vulnerable but believable. And I'm hoping he sticks around as the series goes on. When I talked about Raynell wanting to protect people, Jim is another one. And when you have those sorts of dynamics, it makes it easier for you to like fuck with the audience's emotion, because we know if something happens to Jim, how that's going to affect Raynell. The show also doesn't shy away from heavy themes, mental illness, like I mentioned earlier, through Raynell's mother, Lisa, the absence of fathers, and how easily gangs can become a surrogate family. The Lisa storyline about her recovery was strong. I wish they stuck with it a little bit longer. It felt almost inconsequential for her to get out of hospital as quickly as she did. I wish they kept her separated from Raynell a little bit longer. It would have deepened the tension to watch him get deeper involved in the streets while she's still in the hospital, just with no idea what's going on. And I hope they expand on fatherhood too in later seasons, because the absence of strong male figures feels like a key part in this cycle. Lastly, another thing that I found compelling about Series 1 was the slang. For example, they say wagwan when greeting each other, and that's basically Jamaican patois for what's going on. And I'm wondering, like, how did Jamaican culture get into London? So when I wonder things, I look them up. And apparently, after World War II, Britain was in need of labor, so it called for workers from its Commonwealth countries to kind of come and help out, of which Jamaica was one. So workers went over there from the Caribbean in what is called the Empire Wind Rush in 1948. Cultures mixed in, generations passed, and now you have Londoners using Jamaican terms. And I think that's pretty cool. I like finding out how those sorts of things happen. I think that's pretty interesting. So, look, 4 episodes. That's it. I didn't want to spoil anything, get too heavy into the story. Part of the experience is watching this story unfold, but it's a tight, self-contained season with no filler. You ain't got no filler with 4 episodes. American TV could stand to learn something here. Instead of these bloated 13-episode runs where you got entire episodes where it feels like I only needed 20% of that, and the 80% could have just been left on the cutting room floor, but you just want to stretch this shit out. Like, instead of doing that, Top Boy did more in 4 hours than a lot of shows here in the States do in 10. The finale leaves us with a brewing rift between Dushane and Sully, which feels like the perfect setup for Series 2. Looking forward to that. Hopefully that continues to play out. And while Series 1 was already impressive on a modest budget, knowing that Netflix later put money behind this, with Drake, of all people, stepping in as an executive producer to make this happen, because what happened is, I'm going to pause right here to talk about this. The first 2 series, that were done on Channel 4 were 4 episodes apiece. I think it was 2011 and I think 2013 or 14. Then the show was canceled. It went away. 2019, Drake pops up like, hey, I want this show to come back on. Netflix gets behind it. And since then, Netflix has produced 3 additional seasons that are like 8 episodes or 6 episodes, something like that. So the Summerhouse, Top Boy Summerhouse, is the original first 2 seasons. And then what's listed as Top Boy on Netflix is what was done once Netflix picked it up. So that's something to take note of as well. Makes me hopeful that the show can grow into something even bigger. Maybe something that's worthy of the Wire comparisons that it's been getting. So like I said, Top Boy, Summerhouse, Series 1, excellent start, gritty, compelling, anchored by great performances. If you're into street-level crime dramas, this is a really strong one. And with only 4 episodes, you don't really have an excuse to not watch it. I'm looking forward to diving into Series 2, seeing how the Netflix revival built on this foundation. Hopefully, like I said, it's more about, I didn't say this, but I was thinking it. It's more about building a more complete world with stronger story and stronger characters, rather than feeling like, oh, we got something we can make some money on, so let's just drag this shit out and release a few more seasons of subpar television that we can get some money off of. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully Netflix took it, put some more money into it, put some more creative minds into it, and built something even better than this really strong start that the show is off to. So if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss when I cover Series 2. As always, huge shout out to my Patreon supporters. You guys help keep the deep dives coming. So until my Series 2 video, which shouldn't be too far off, peace.